It's Wednesday night. Welcome to another Undressed podcast. Hello, I'm Jeremy Taylor. Welcome to Wednesday Night Undressed, the podcast that reaches into the wobbly places that other podcasts dare and venture. Join our panel for a thrilling threnody of rumbustical debate where the answers are always clear, simple and straightforward insofar as they can be determined and demonstrated to be without any dermatological, epistemology, ologies, all sorts of words like that, but logicals on the end of it. Problems. I beg your pardon.
Dude, have you been drinking already?
That was ketchup.
That was
Or did you?
ketchup.
Have you pooed your pants already?
Maybe.
We haven't even started.
Either way.
Okay, we'll introduce some of our regular panel tonight. Dame Kathleen Taylor is with us.
Hello.
Dr. Orlando's with us. Who else have we got? Mr. Fernando is with us. Cheers. Yes. Coach is with us.
Hello.
And I'm here. And who else have we got? Yes. Well, as I said, Coach. Young Coach.
He's right now. It's okay.
Well, I said he wasn't because he was pissed. All
think
right,
you forgot.
just Josh is here too. God, bloody hell, man.
You hate my honesty.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And our
Got yourself in
producer, Neil
trouble.
Rasmussen, is here. Our engineer, Eric Holcomb, is not here. And for some reason, Count Count Evo isn't here either, but he may turn up later. What are we going to do? This is the first sort of formal Wednesday night undressed of 2019.
Yes, that's better.
2019. I can do this. 2019. It is. Yes. January.
Last time I checked.
2019 is where we're at. And we were sort of thinking about what do we want to talk about, and we couldn't come up with anything really very sensible. So you're thinking, well, in that case, I'll switch over to listen to the radio and not bother with this podcast.
Probably the
hang
smartest choice
hang
they
on
could
just
make
a moment,
right
I
now.
say, because we did in fact learn some interesting things in 2018. Life lessons learnt, and also just how did it go? For many people, 2018, in fact, pretty much everybody I've spoken to since Christmas says what a shitty year 2018 was. And looking out of your loudspeaker as I can, because I've been in broadcasting for such a long time, I'm able to do that, I can see people nodding that 2018, which everyone thought was going to be a great year, in fact wasn't such a great year.
Hey,
But
it got better in November.
what happened in November?
An election.
Well, that's fine if you're a Democrat, but what if
Yeah.
you're a Republican?
Well, that doesn't count.
So, there we go. Anyway, so lessons learned, and we thought what we might do is to look at some of the lessons that we may have all learnt, life lessons. What do we need to work on, or come to that, what went well? And I think we need to. I would start with our producer, Neil Rasmussen, who's the only person, as far as I know, who had anything like a decent Christmas. But he's being the producer right now, so we can't. So let's go to.
He's trying
Josh.
to decide whether to put food in his mouth.
Josh was just going to stuff a piece of chicken in his mouth, and I thought. Well, let's ask Josh. No, we don't have to ask Josh. We could go somewhere else. But I might come back to you suddenly.
I think 2018 was an interesting year. I think.
We're not allowing political.
No. This is not political. I think it's a year.
That's a politician's answer.
I think for me, it was a year of a lot of growth emotionally and very difficult emotionally. I think I learned a lot of lessons. I learned who true friends were. I learned who weren't my friends. I learned that social media or media in general, people will use that to their advantage and push you out in front of it and not protect the people they should protect.
How do you mean by that? Just to sort of, because other people are going to be suffering from this, so it's
So
these
anybody can say
young
any-
people like Coach do this sort of
Anybody
thing. 'Cause they're young,
can say
they can use their cell
anything
phone.
and believe that it's truth.
Right.
So somebody can say something about you in print or on Twitter or on Instagram or on Facebook, and we are in such an instant gratification society that you read it and you automatically make your judgment that that is true, and then you move on to the next thing.
Always done that.
I don't know if that's always been the case.
Dr. Orlando.
The difference is more people have the outlet now. It used to be that the newsmen were the guys that could sway public opinion just by how they would write the headline, and now we all create our own headline. So I don't think that the mechanics are different. I just think that the number of people that are able to do it is different.
But I also believe that when you have the ability to comment on something that's in supposedly a paper that's supposed to be objective, but people can comment on that article publicly, and there's no repercussions on that, and they can say names and they can do whatever they want in that. But that people believe that is truth.
Oh, no, I agree. And essentially what I'm saying is I think Jeremy's right. I think we've actually always done that. It's just nowadays we have this ability to hop onto a website and make these comments without leaving our name or without having to take any responsibility for what we say. And so people can lie, and they can lie with relative impunity now. And that's the thing that's different.
I agree. Yeah, I see what you're
But
saying.
there's always been this thing, when I was doing radio, it's very clear that there were some things that one does not say, even though you have the amendments that say you can say whatever you like, free speech. For example, you don't stand up in the middle of a cinema and shout at the top of your voice, fire. That's not acceptable.
All I could think of was the song, "You Don't Step on Superman's Cape, You Don't Piss into the Wind, You Don't Mess Around."
Talking about?
That's a Jim Croce song. You don't mess around with Jim. Yeah.
All right. But here's the thing, you're not supposed to do that. So some lady recently put on her Facebook or something like that, or Twitter, this woman potentially threatened the president in her Facebook thing. And she, I doubt, actually meant physically for someone to do that. But not long afterwards, there's a knock on her door, and outside is a plainclothes detective and a Secret Service agent who start to ask her questions about, they want to know about who she is, where date of birth, all this sort of stuff, and they were trying to get into her apartment. And her nephew was there with his phone filming all this, and they're telling him to put the phone down, but because he was in the apartment, they couldn't actually lay their hands on him. Eventually, they agree that yes, she can say whatever she likes, and no, they can't come into her apartment. They don't have a warrant and all that sort of thing. And she'd gone from being surprised and moved into being angry. And so she slammed the door in their faces and they went away. And what I'm thinking is, in the light of what you just said, Josh, how far does, freedom of speech and all that sort of thing, Anyway, what I'm getting at is, so maybe we're not as subject to freedom of speech as we like. And we know perfectly well, if anybody says to you while you're going through the TSA, probably particularly now, what have you got in that case? If you say the word BOMB, you're going to be in a room on your own for hours and hours and hours and hours, just because they're pissed. Not least because you shouldn't say that. Normally people get arrested and thrown off aeroplanes. You'll still get arrested and thrown off the aeroplane, but they'll still piss with you for a couple of hours just because they're pissed. Kathleen, what do you think?
About that? I never joke around airplanes.
No, neither do I. But what Josh was saying.
I really haven't thought along the lines of social media as a change, but that was a change, yes. I was trying more to think of what have we learned from last year, and my learning things are along a different line.
I've learned something from, by the way,
well,
social media.
what's mine?
I want to know what Kath says.
Yeah, I thought you'd finished. Oh, sorry.
No, I have not.
Oh, you still going on?
I have learned something about friendship. I've got more friends this year. This group has been great, and the value of just coming and talking and taking turns talking so that people stop and don't interrupt and listen to what each other say.
Bastards, I hate
it's
you.
fantastic. I recommend it to anybody.
Yeah.
Just have it. It's a bit more formal, but it allows you more freedom. So I've enjoyed this podcast for that reason.
Coach.
To sort of piggyback off the social media thing, I also think we're at a state now with search engines to where when you search something that may be false, untrue, or maybe just a blind ignorance, when you search that one thing you're looking for, that's all that's going to come up, right? Nothing's going to come up disproving your fact. Nothing's going to come up to dispute it. It's catered to what you search for and what you want to see.
That's a good point.
I don't want to ruffle any feathers on giving like examples or anything, but I don't know. We're just at that age where
I don't have feathers.
No, well, you had said how you'd grown, and I wanted to say something about feathers. Well, hair in your case, but
yeah, no, I just think there's not really a workaround to show you a right from wrong. You know, it's all catered to how you search. It's all catered to what you've been searching, what you've been looking at. There's no real discrepancy between right and wrong. It's just like, you've been searching for this. This is what you believe in. So we're just going to give you a bunch of websites that pertain to that topic.
so what you learn is don't necessarily believe everything. We used to say, don't believe everything you read in the newspaper.
Don't
Right.
believe you're getting a whole picture.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's
Yeah.
perfect. Don't believe just by typing in like good things Trump has done, you know. Of course it's going to come up with good things Trump has done, quote unquote, but it's not going to necessarily show you all the heinous things that have been done, because that's not what you're searching for.
Well, before I refer everyone who listens to this podcast to the BBC, where you will get genuinely unbiased.
Every time he says BBC, I think of something else.
Someone's been on the hub
So
too
let's-
much.
Let's go
using the tube
to
of-
Dr. Orlando.
Series of tubes.
For no particular reason at all.
Yeah.
Try and keep
I
going.
am,
Go on, try and keep going. You know you can.
My thing, I think my lesson learned for the year
laughing now,
is
just
slightly
keep going.
different. The lesson that I learned this year is that people in power don't want to give up that power very easily.
Absolutely.
And for me, that's kind of the byproduct of the Me Too movement, the intense backlash that we get, that women get from men who are just so angry that they're being told to treat women similarly to the way they want to be treated. It is something that I think is readily identifiable for anybody that's in a marginalized community. But seeing the dynamic of someone like the Harvey Weinstein, thank you, couldn't think of his name, or Bill Cosby, see the people that champion these criminals. I mean, like psychopaths. People that will sit back and champion these people shocks me a little bit. The justification that people will go through, the mental gymnastics people will go through, the people that will glorify our president for being an asshole because he represents that loss of power that people are so afraid of dealing with. The idea that if you can't abuse this group, this group has somehow wronged you. It has come. That lesson has really solidified itself in my mind. That when Malcolm X said, you know, if we want to be treated fairly, we're going to have to fight for our rights. They're not going to give it to us. We have to take it from them. that makes a lot more sense. It's a lot clearer to me now that you can't count on people to be fair and equal and just. You have to force people to recognize your humanity.
The benefits to some groups of people of being unfair, of being bullying and racist and sexist and the whole lot. The benefits to them are quite extreme, and they don't want to give up those benefits.
Yeah, and so it's not as though I didn't recognize that this was a problem. It's just that I have walked around my entire life with this understanding that everybody on the planet wants to be fair and they want to be just. No, I really have. And so this is the lesson for me. Like, for me, the Me Too movement really encapsulates how blind we can be to for me as a guy, there are things that I have realized that I do that I really shouldn't do, and that's really sobering. So if you're not willing to do that kind of like self-investigation, like constantly, there's a really, really intense backlash against the whole notion that maybe your behavior is not kosher.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's what 2018 has been like for me.
I would say that's I'd say I'm on a similar path or parallel as that is like a lot of self-reflection, a lot of how how do I change, or how do I accept the things that are right. To then I spent a lot of time the second half of the year thinking about ego, pride.
Right.
What does that look like for me? How do I put that aside? How do I continue to lean towards love and compassion, even when I'm in my darkest? Because I truly believe in my heart that love and compassion will always win.
Right.
But you may have to go through hell to continue to feel that way. And what I've taught myself is that not just this year, but really embraced it this year, is that if I continue that value, eventually I'll come out on the other end.
Right.
And when I don't live into that value, I find myself being more sad or more angry or more telling myself that's unfair, that shouldn't be that way,
Right.
But if I lean into love and compassion, none of that matters.
Right. See, I have that problem I'm married, so I have that problem all the time, where like I'm thinking that's really not fair. That's really, really not fair. And what I've literally taken to doing here in the last couple weeks, it's funny that you say that. It's because I literally stop whenever I get into my little petulant child mode, and I stop and say, okay, why is my wonderful wife, who's doing whatever it is that I think is unfair, why is she doing it? And usually the answer is probably because she cares a whole lot about me.
Right.
And then it's like, no matter how pissed off I am, it's like, okay, so whatever she's doing, good or bad, comes from a position of love. And then I feel like the world's biggest asshole for being pissed off about it. And this is relatively new. This is just within the last 2 weeks.
Oh, that's fucking
for sure.
It's raw right now, isn't it? I can
really
tell
is.
it's raw.
And it's just like, this is such an interesting attempt at trying to, restructure, reframe how you look at things. So
There are things in the world that are unfucking fair. That is true.
Right.
The matter of what you do with it next
Right.
is what makes your value, right? Accepting the fact that it's unfair is the first step.
Right.
If
and
it's
just
truly
not
unfair,
going to be fair all the time.
no, fuck no. My dad always told me life's not fair. Duh.
Right.
And then he smacked me on the back of the head, and I went along way, right?
Yeah.
To be a woman and to have 3 children and then have to be connected to them always, right? Because it's different for a male or a female, and then have to work and then have to do all the things that women are connected to. That's unfucking fair.
Right.
I think we as males now in this day and age try to make that less
so.
So, but we are selfish creatures.
What the fuck are you guys doing with our utensils?
That's unfair that you're fucking with that, man.
Oh, okay.
The engineers, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the engineers
Man,
are interrupting
I
our
was
very
in
deep.
my spot, man.
Josh was in his groove. I mean, for me, I went through 2018 and I thought,
18 or 19?
2018, thinking, okay, that's okay. What would Josh say? Move on. Okay.
Is that what those bracelets are? The WWJD?
Would I say move
What
on?
would Josh do?
Get on with the next thing. Sort of, try and, and you talk about it, and sometimes life's unfair and things like that, and you sort of learn things and carry on and try and move on and move on and move on. But then I think of the indomitable Captain Blackadder as he was about to go over the out of the.
No, you don't learn
slip
life
trench.
lessons from Blackadder.
No, you do. This,
No.
I think, is an important one, and that
It's
is
a British
is
show. Rowan
that-
Atkinson, maybe his greatest show.
That just when you think everything is going swimmingly, and you got the answer to it, God conspires to come up and kick you in the balls.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's all very well to say, and things are unfair, and he's behind you, whack, sort of thing. Bottom line is, you're either an Eeyore or a Tigger, and I'm an Eeyore. Josh is a Tigger.
You're a Tigger have nothing to do with Blackadder.
You know what I'm just trying to give the
It's
example.
incongruous.
You can guarantee just when you think everything's going fine, God will conspire to kick you in the balls just to put you in your place.
Neither of
No.
them has balls.
I think I have always been of the impression that if you think things are going fine, you've just not looked deeply enough. So
There you go.
That's
Murphy's always
Well,
there, waiting.
Jesus. I mean, we're going down this path. Well, then let's go down this path. I mean,
Let's
this is
go down
this is
there. Yes, we're going in deep.
This is
down
fucking
deep.
life. It's not. It's
Loads
not
of
like all fucking jelly beans and hookers, right? That's just
jelly
isn't-
beans and hookers.
That's
Maybe
just not
that's
the
my
way
new
it
band
works. Like,
It's a good name for a band, that.
it is a great name for a band.
Jelly Bean Hookers.
Remember that, Coach?
Yeah,
I got
Jelly
it, I got
Bean
it.
Hookers, yeah.
Is that human beings are supposed to be in pain?
Who says?
We were in pain
Who says?
and struggled
Who says?
until 10 years ago, really.
Yeah, but isn't that?
We didn't. Okay.
You want us to punch you?
here's-
We'll punch you.
So here's
if you want.
here's the thing. My youngest son and my wife were driving in the car,
Right.
and they talk about cows all the time, and
Cow.
my wife says, "Do you think the cows think it's cold out?" And my youngest son, who's 8, goes, "I don't think a cow knows that it's a cow." Right? An 8-year-old just realized that human beings are the only self-aware thing out there.
Right.
Right?
Sentient, yeah.
We didn't even figure that out until we didn't have to fight off the bear,
Right.
or plow our fields, or whatever it is that we did.
Right.
We didn't realize that we existed until things were easy,
Right.
and that just happened. So for us to think that we're supposed to be happy, and happiness is a place that we go to, then
So this is very
It's
deep, but I think
ridiculous.
it's interesting. When did we discover our willies? Because you talk about happy place.
Beg your pardon?
I discovered mine consciously
That's
About-
2016.
about 2016. Maybe that's been my
Things we
problem.
learned in 2018.
Okay.
That is
So we've come to the conclusion that things are nasty,
Well, you
short,
haven't
and
got a
British,
willy, so
and I'm
you-
not talking about willies here.
But ching. No, so
Yes,
okay, I
so
agree with what you're
no.
saying. There's this idea that we've gotten away, or at least I think we've gotten away from, and that was, I guess, kind of where I was going to go next. Life is hard, but I don't
Still
think.
not talking about willies.
Yes, well, speak for yourself.
Put it in the pants.
Now we're on that. We will not be able to get away
Right,
from
exactly.
the innuendos.
So I feel like we've been kind of sold a bill of goods for at least my lifetime that life is supposed to be easy. Like, that seems to be what everything that we buy would indicate, all the commercials that we look at. Like, I think that we've been given this message that life is supposed to be fun and joyous and pain-free.
Is that your experience? Is that what you're saying? The society, that's what society's experience is.
I'm saying that society is being told that if you are doing things right, you will have an easy life.
Yeah,
Of course they're saying that because they want you to buy the fucking thing, right? They want you to buy the pill that's going to make you happy. Of course society is saying that, but the reality is people aren't saying that.
Right.
People are saying that.
No,
people
are
are wondering why they are not happy.
That's my point. Yeah.
Okay, and they shouldn't be asked. That's not the right question to ask because you're not actually supposed to be happy.
No, you're not.
It's not a part of the human condition. But
Yeah.
that's
No.
That's why people get
It
depressed.
is part of the
That's
human
why
condition.
people
It's an emotion
get
that
angry.
it's emotion that we have, just like we have sadness and anger and everything else. Happiness is an emotion we all have. And share it. And it comes and goes just like anger and sadness and anxiety and joy and all that. It comes and goes just like that.
But I can tell you with absolute certainty that the Bentley and Aston Martin dealer in St. Louis tells me on a regular basis I would be happy if I had one or both of his vehicles.
Do you believe that to be true?
Yes.
So go buy one and see if the happiness comes.
I'm not allowed.
You know what? You should buy
Allowed?
two.
No.
Yes,
You should buy
allowed.
two. Or,
Allowed. Okay.
even better, you can buy one and use your buddy Lou as the placebo. Oh no, you be the placebo. I'll be the one that actually has the Bentley.
Would you do that for me?
I would do that for you, Jeremy, because I love you and because I care. I will take your Bentley and drive it for a year or so.
Do you want one with a roof so you stay
You know
nice
what?
and
If I
warm?
could get one that has a retractable roof, that would probably be optimal.
Because then you'd be able to see what it was like in the heat.
Exactly.
That's damn decent of you. I'm saying I'm
Golly,
not doing
what
that
a
for you.
friend.
I wouldn't.
I'm not going
Please
to.
don't do that
No,
for
fuck
me.
you. I'm
'cause
not
I
going
don't
to.
want a
Not
fucking
the way
Bentley
you
because they're
you
stupid.
treated me earlier. No.
Bentley is one of the stupidest vehicles ever invented.
Absolutely.
What went well for us? I'm interested to know what
Last
you know.
year?
We went back at the beginning. What have we learned? One of the things I learned, it's silly, is that if you're texting someone who's
girlfriend.
under 30, they're not going to reply to you with a thank you for the text. I just learned that.
Fucking point. Yeah. I just realized
It's most
that now.
more along the lines of 3 days later, you text the son again, and he says, "Huh?"
I am just
That's the general
I'm
response.
just
Huh?
now, like right now, realizing I should probably be thanking people for the text.
Thank you for texting me. That I'm an asshole.
Holy shit! I
really
owe
appreciate
everybody
that.
that's
Is
in my
that
phone an
because-
apology right now.
Is that because I'm
Damn.
nearly the oldest person here that when someone sends me a message with words, that I always say thanks or I always respond to it?
Okay, that's different. Always responding and always saying thanks is different.
Well, one of the two.
No, I don't do
mean,
either.
You don't respond? You're one of
Sometimes I
those
don't.
assholes, aren't
Yeah,
you?
I guess I am. Again,
see.
Well, if
I'm
everybody
not
in a
mad,
text
man.
conversation responded to every text message, it would never end. You have to stop the conversation at some point.
yeah.
Thank you for your thanks. Well, thank you for your thanks for the
Peace
thanks.
out.
Thank you for the thanks. You know,
Or just, sometimes you just end it, right? Like, I get it. Like, everybody knows when
Well,
the
you just
conversation
put
ends.
K. Okay,
Or
or,
just-
thanks
I mean-
or something.
You don't have to say goodbye every time, but you know what? I have to admit, you do say nice things in your text messages, even from New Zealand. So I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for being nice in your texts.
Fuck off.
I have missed you guys so fucking much. I think lessons, like things that have made me happy,
Yeah.
to piggyback off of what you said, is being with you guys in 2018, really making an effort on a constant basis to come to this and talk with you
Why
guys.
do you think that is? Serious question for a minute. Why do you think? Is it therapeutic for you?
For me, right? So I'm an extrovert. My wife is an introvert. So she can be okay staying at home and hanging out, right? And it doesn't take any
Does she
energy.
like potatoes?
She loves potatoes.
I would be a very good friend with her.
Yeah.
Does she like quilts?
No. She doesn't need friends, is what he's saying.
I know. Neither do I. She and I could be in separate houses
Exactly. And be friends.
doing our own thing.
And be friends.
Right, exactly.
That's exactly
My kind of person.
who she is. So, but I'm an extrovert,
Right.
and this fills my cup, right? Talking and hanging out and being with like-minded people, but even disagreeing about things fills my cup. So when you connected
And
me
we
to
do
these
like
people,
your cup to be filled.
I know, because
I
it's
know.
not
Stop talking
Sounds
about
so
Willie's
dirty.
a long time ago.
man, when that thing is full, holy moly,
It's like Niagara Falls.
Niagara Falls, man. Woo! That's 2018, Niagara Falls. Yeah.
Keeps coming and coming.
Coming and coming.
So, what about you, Dr. Orlando? What's
that-
what's been good for you for 2018? Unmitigatingly good.
Unmitigatingly good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go with my Nintendo Switch. No, I'm just trying to think of something materialistic that I can palm it off on. I am pleased with the progress that I'm making in law school. I am still, to this day, anxious that this is an entirely new skill set that I'm attempting to acquire in my, advancing years. And so there's this notion that I have the ability to continue to learn, to continue to grow, to continue to do new things. And so the fact that I was doing okay at the beginning of law school, and now I seem to be doing significantly better at law school is reassuring.
So law school is taking the place of lumosity.
I'm sorry, did you say luosity?
Lum-
I didn't know anybody knew about that. No. Yes. So,
Yeah.
I liked lumosity and brilliance, and there's a couple of other those sites that I will like. I absolutely love getting on and playing around with. And the one thing on Facebook that used to sucker me in all the time is when they said only 5% of the population can answer this question. Like those were the ones that I would always, I'm sure that I'm in the top 5%.
Yes,
And
if you
log
could
on.
answer 20 of these questions,
Yes.
your IQ is way up there.
Exactly. But then I realized they were just stealing my information in much the same way that all the other Facebook quizzes do. So
It warms my heart that you would say that challenging yourself, putting yourself out there, being vulnerable, is something that you are glad that you've done. It is a strange world that we're just okay with mediocrity.
amen to that.
And one of the things I've learned in 2018 was that I really, closer towards the end of 2018, is that I needed to do something different. I needed to put myself out there. I needed to be vulnerable. I needed to make a change.
Right.
I needed to push myself and learn something new, challenge myself. And it continues now. Like, there are days I come home and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, this law school thing, horrible mistake. But keep
Right.
going.
Changing jobs, terrible mistake. But hey, I'm pushing myself.
I think it's for me. We say it's a sort of Carnegie thing, Dale Carnegie thing. What do we need to learn? What do we need to work on? And ideas that come from that. And as you say, getting towards the end of 2018, I was joking earlier on about God coming and kicking you in the bollocks, when you think everything's going fine. I think making decisions, and writing down lists of what you want to achieve. So it's written down, and you've got it there, and then leaving all those lists on the aeroplane is one of the main life
an
lessons.
unfortunate occurrence.
You know, if you find a red book, somebody in Denver, that's where all it is.
Shit.
That's the
I
best
think-
thing to do.
I think
with
one of the
life
other
lists of
things. I
life
think one
goals.
of the
Leave
other
them
things,
somewhere.
life
Start
lessons,
again.
is that we all die. Right, we all die.
It's all coming for
and
us.
sometimes that happens when we're least expecting it. And so making provision for that, whether you are 25, 45, 65 or whatever, I think is a very good idea, because one doesn't. And going back to what Coach was saying earlier with technology and everything else, if someone needs to get into your iPad because you got plastered all over the road or something, because they need to get to your bank account because they need to feed your kids, and you just never told the whoever what the password is to your iPad, things like that are critically important, but we don't do it. And I think for me, the life lesson, the major life lesson that I've learned over the last, in fact, over Christmas, was the need to ensure that there are other people out there that I trust. The if something happens, that they can continue on and continue on with their lives, and do things that I'd like them to do if I'm not around. I think that is the single. And I've spoken to a number of people who go, I need to do that. I must do that. Dr. Orlando.
I just want to make a real quick suggestion. What has worked for me is that I use a password manager. And so, all the stuff that I need my wife to have, I just share that password with her via the password manager. But the really, really important stuff, the stuff that I don't want her to find out about until I'm gone, I give her half the password in my password manager, and I give my mistress the other half of the password.
Good call.
And so, it takes
How
some
do you
how does
make
she
sure
know?
that together
just
later?
going to ask Jeremy.
But how does she know how to get hold of him?
Oh, well, see, that's the thing. Oh, you're a funny guy. You're like you.
You're like that? You're like that, big
You
boy?
made a gay joke.
Yes, you're a funny guy. Yes.
I just want your password. I'll hold on to your passwords for you.
I'm not using them. I'm
They're
done
on
with
the
it.
they're on the plane,
Done with the freaking thing,
along with your name and social
somebody
security
has
number.
all of his password. Yeah. So, in a very legitimate sense, though, what Jeremy's talking about is a really, really big deal. And every time this topic comes up, whether it's on his radio show or just here on the podcast, I tell everybody, go out and find yourself a password manager. And quite legitimately, what I have done is I've basically written down my master password. I did do exactly what I said, like our bank accounts, our insurance claims, and everything like that. I log into them. The password manager memorizes them. I say share with the missus, so she has access to all of them. There are some things that I do actually have secret, but I have a password written down that my wife has access to in case she needs it. So that is one of those things that in today's world you have to do. There are even services online that you can sign up for that you have to log into periodically, and you can set that as.
But it's not just literal passwords. It's as you probably gathered listening. We went on a long trip over Christmas, and I thought I wanted one of my sons to have access to our security box in the bank. Not going to happen. Nope.
Why not?
Bank wouldn't allow it.
Why not?
Because my other son, who now lives
Somewhere
way
else.
out of state, is a signatory. And unless he signs the thing,
Oh, wow.
they're not going to allow another, What I'm trying to get at is there's stuff out there that you don't know is out there until you ask. So I learned a long time ago that if your partner dies, you do not tell the bank until you've emptied the bank accounts. Because the moment that your partner dies, they freeze the accounts.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
Good to know.
I didn't either.
And so stuff like that, that it's just silly things. If it's a joint account, and the bank go, oh, well, no, we'd be pleased to. Nah, not on the day. You know, not on the day, and you've just lost your partner. The world has come to a grinding halt. Traffic is still moving, but you can't understand why, and you need some money because you spent it all in the store on Friday. You just need to go and get some. You can't. So you have to go to your friend, Dr. Orlando, and say, "Hey, can you stiff me $50 or something?"
I know he
Considering you're
doesn't
giving
have
him
it.
I'm just gonna
a
laugh
car
at you.
already.
You come to me.
Yeah,
like,
I'm buying the
I feel
Bentley,
sorry
so-
for you, but holy shit, you
but
asking me for money?
I sometimes think that there are life lessons. You know, what do they call them in the magazines? Hacks.
Life
Right,
hacks.
Life
but
hacks.
life lessons happen because we need to learn life lessons.
Right.
So somebody had to go through that for us to learn. We should be a little smarter, right?
Yeah.
The thing needed to happen for us to understand to do things differently, right?
Well, and I think there's a difference between the life hack, which is don't let the bank know that your spouse has died, versus the life lesson of be prepared that life is going to go on without you, and like make sure that your spouse can take care of his or herself.
Well, with
Guess
the
what? I
exception
don't
of
care, I'll be
Coach,
dead.
he's not had kids. But
gives a shit?
It's
What does it
interesting,
matter?
isn't it, when you lose somebody, or when.
Do you mean they died?
Yeah, when someone dies, or
Rather than
or-
just misplacing.
or when
Yeah.
you have a. That is a strange saying. I never mind. We'll come back. But you've had a baby or something. You know, your wife's had a baby, or you've had a baby, and you walk outdoors out of the hospital, and your world has just stopped dead in its tracks, and restarted, and everything's carrying on as normal. Particularly at Conroy's Emporium, where you can get anything your heart
So
desires.
is it supposed to stop?
No. But, you know, your head says, well, hey, hang on, this has just happened to me.
I find it really strange when something like that, good or bad, happens.
Yeah.
That there is this like weird shade that you see life through for a while. Like it's like sometimes to me it's like, you know, when you go onto Instagram and there's the Clarendon filter. I feel like sometimes like that's the way
Excuse me?
the world looks
No.
when something terrible happens.
What's
What's
that filter?
Instagram?
It's social media. The only social media platform I'm on. It's pictures.
I really have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, I'll show you after.
All right.
All right. But that's sometimes how I feel when something terrible happens.
I will show you the
That
dirty
filter is
Instagram
like-
once he shows you the regular Instagram. Sorry, go ahead.
Is there a dirty Instagram?
Well,
The Fenstagram.
What's it? I want to be on that one. I'm on the clean version.
Coach is still with us. He's been very quiet.
you know what, Coach? We did not hear what good news or good lesson you learned from this past year yet.
In terms of good lesson, I learned good lessons from failure, I would say. I spent basically the whole year not trying to fail, but more or less, you know, embracing failure. This podcast, for example, Evo invited me the one time, and
Terrible failure.
Is that how why you keep turning up?
Terrible failure.
I convene with Evo, and he's here. I'm not here. No,
I thought it was because you've been on my show and you just sort of couldn't give up.
Of course, no. I love Jeremy. Love talking with Jeremy
Moving on,
on
moving on.
occasion. But
Told him everything he knows.
You get over that after a few episodes.
Yeah. It'll pass.
But you know, there's always that kind of niggling fear of failure in the back of your mind whenever you do something, and instead of letting that sort of decide what you're gonna do, you just embrace it. You know, if I'm going to fail, this is how I'm gonna learn from it. This is how I'm gonna better myself from it. So it was all a year
let's
of
get
failure
lost.
for me.
Don't let him jade your.
No, not at all.
It's okay.
Not at all.
It's okay.
No,
I like what
I'm-
you're saying, Coach.
I'm proud of my failures.
Sounds kind of
this
like
year.
a coach.
You know, I try to instill that to my players too, but it does not go as well, unfortunately, sometimes. But
Sometimes it's interesting. I have a young wrestler, and
You
he had a
had a
tough.
young wrestler?
I have a young wrestler.
You naughty boy.
I know. I am. I'm pretty naughty.
You are. We
Another
like
one of
you,
the-
but
another one of those
naughty.
jokes. Yeah. In the first part of this season, he was really struggling with losing. And I said to him, I pulled him aside when he was throwing a fit, as wrestlers sometimes do, because it's an individual sport.
Right.
You lose because that person is truly better than you, or you made a mistake. It's as simple as that.
Right.
It's not because another team member fucked up or whatever. You fucked up, or they were better than you. And so he was throwing a fit, and I told him, and he was saying, I said, you either lose with grace or you win with grace, and that's the only thing that matters. And he started to understand what that means.
Right.
Even when he loses, he can be upset, but he goes off somewhere else and he's upset about it.
Good deal.
So I like what you're saying, Coach. It's that's you can.
Kathleen.
Yes? What? What
was
have I...
What good lesson did you learn this year? What good lesson did you learn this year?
That I'm probably could live my life better by becoming more interested in other people and listening to them better.
What'd you say?
I need to work on that. For instance, I know you guys have been talking in the last few minutes. Just haven't paid any attention.
Been at home quilting.
Yeah.
She's still back at Willie's.
Yeah. So that's possibly
Well,
I
and I
have
thought
a
your-
little room for improvement in myself.
Just
I know
a
it's
little?
small, but a little.
No, see, I kind of thought your initial comment was a pretty good one, and that was that you kind of realized that
And this group and sort of a formalized taking turns speaking, listening to each other, and appreciating different points of view is excellent. I recommend it to anybody. Yeah.
You've been listening to another Wednesday Night Undressed. I managed to just get that in before Josh said something else. Did you have something else you wanted to add to the podcast when everybody else had stopped speaking?
I just want to know what you thought went well for you in 2018.
Me?
Yeah, you.
Well?
Well.
I survived 2018.
There you go.
How's your shed looking?
Shed's coming along nicely,
See?
actually, yes.
Yes.
Actually, what went well for me, there are things that went well for me. I
course
think,
there did.
I'm not sure what they are
You learned to
exactly,
weld.
Are you on the right side of the dirt?
but I'm not below it. Which,
Exactly.
Oh, that's good.
So yeah. Excellent.
Oh, I
And
see
I'm
what you mean, yeah.
Happy to see you.
Yes, and I'm happy to see you too, naughty boy. Now, have you finished now? Can we
I'm
do
good.
the wind
Thanks.
up?
Thanks.
You sure?
Yeah.
Yeah. You've been listening to another Wednesday Night Undressed, and we'd like to thank our team. We didn't have any sponsors today because we're not officially doing this till next week, but we thought we'd give it a go. But we would like to thank our engineer, Eric Holcomb, our producer, Neil Rasmussen, and of course our technical advisor, who's not been doing a lot of advising today.
He hasn't finished his
hang
beer
on.
yet.
He's only halfway down his second beer.
It's a delicious sweater
Dr.
on.
Fernando, of course. He is wearing a very, very suave cardigan, buttoned down
Those
the
are two
middle
words
with a
that
long
you
V-neck.
do not hear very often. Suave cardigan.
Yes, it's a very suave cardigan, and a rather fetching silk shirt, I have to say. But we better get off him before he gets to the end of his beer and gets on a rant. Want to thank Just Josh, of course, Coach, of course, for coming. I keep saying, of course, mustn't use these crutches. Yeah. So Coach Tyler's with us. Kathleen.
Anytime.
Dr. Orlando.
Yo.
And I'm Jeremy Taylor. You've been listening to another Wednesday Night Undressed.